Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, we have to start with our meeting. It's not going to be a long meeting. It's designed for us to adopt the report of the two meetings that we have had with the Auditor-General. One of those was dealing with a strategic plan. The other one was dealing with the annual performance plan and the financials of the Office of the Auditor-General. So I hope that we are familiar with the documents as tabled because they emanate from the deliberation that we had in the previous two meetings. The last one was on the 19th, which is the last week Friday, and therefore they are fresh meetings, so we'll be able to handle those critical matters. As the committee, our main objective is to make the Office of the Auditor-General to work and ensure that in terms of the Public Audit Act, it maintains the highest standards of independence, and for it to do so, certain things ought to happen in terms of their own sustainability. So you are all welcome, colleagues. The actual agenda is in front of us, opening and welcome, which has been done. And are there any apologies, Mr. Peter Paul?
No, Chair, we have not received any apologies for this meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Though I haven't seen as per the record, there is a newly sworn member, Umama Ukota, who is made to be part of the standing committee. She has not as yet been ATC'd, and therefore the difficulty is that if she is in the meeting, yes, she'll be able to participate. The only thing that she wants to do is to vote when we need to take any vote until her name has been ATC'd. We then welcome her as part of the committee. I was trying to see this thing here. I don't see her name as yet. I take it that she is not yet a part of the meeting. Mr. Peter Paul, the items on the agenda, we have taken the agenda off now. Can we adopt the agenda, colleagues?
Chair, I move for the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you very much, Comrade Sepasangwe.
Chairperson, I second the adoption. Singh here, but also to let you know that I'm multitasking with 3 meetings at the same time. So I'm with you and I'm not with you, but I'll definitely be with you when I'm required. Thank you.
No problem. You're more than welcome. Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. That's why I'm saying our meeting is not going to be a long meeting. It's only a very short meeting because we're familiar with the matters which are part of the records here, starting with the minutes, ending up with our own recommendations and adoption of the report. Mr. Peter Paul?
Yes, Chair, I'm here.
Do you have the minutes of the meeting of the 12th?
Chair, we can start with the minutes. I thought we'd start with the report, but let me find the minutes and put them up quickly.
I take it that we're going to flow from the minutes to the report.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine, Chair. The minutes are up. I hope members can see the screen.
So the nature.
We also can see, Chair, there's a screen that looks like the desktop for Mr. Peter Paul.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
I hope the members, can you see all of the members? There are the minutes for the 12th of November of our virtual meeting as the committee, standing committee on the Auditor-General. The first page, which is a slide, contains those who are in attendance. I hope that that is captured well. Are you happy with the first slide?
Yes, Chair.
Attendance. And then it goes into opening and welcome, a briefing by the Auditor-General, and it ends up by don't move up. That's it. It ends with a paragraph which is captured as following the introductory remarks. The presentation covered the following areas, then they are listed. Is there any element that we are not happy with in that slide or page? Are we happy?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, Chair.
Page 2, then go to page 3, Peter Paul. The start of the page. Start of the page starts with the key focus areas and then ends with the accountability report. Are there any matters there?
Chair, if you can remove you and put the minutes on the screen, because I see you.
Oh, you see me.
Yeah.
Let me remove myself. Are you fine now?
Isn't it good to see him this morning, colleague?
Yes, and it looks so bright. But still, we don't see the minutes. You are not there, but the minutes is just a tiny block on the side. Can you do something?
Expand the minutes, Peter Paul. Peter.
I'm definitely screen sharing on my side, Chair.
Okay, I see it. On my side, I see it quite well. Do you still have problems, colleagues?
Yes.
No, I see it very well, Chair, together with you.
Yeah, okay.
Well, good.
No, great. That's right. The current slide starts with the committee appreciated the presentation by the AG and ends with the real-time audits, which covers the 2 areas. Are there any areas that we think we need to amend there? The
No,
next
Chair.
page, Okay, next page, Peter Paul. The next page starts with preventative controls and end with the usage of private Peter Paul. Ends with the usage or sustainability in terms of liquidity must be guarded and ensured. That's where the following page is. Are there any areas of our own amendment? I'm doing this, colleagues, knowing very well that these minutes have been with us. I would have easily said, since you have read the minutes, are there any issues that you think they need our attention? But I choose to deal with it step by step. But feel free if you have seen any area to say, let us amend this area in terms of language, in terms of sense, and all that stuff. Next page, Peter Paul. That's the end of the minutes, the last page of the minutes. Is there any matter? Can we have someone to propose the adoption of the minutes?
I move for the adoption of the minutes, Congressman.
Mahmoud Sipasingwe is proposing. Seconder, Honorable Singh.
Unfortunately, I was not at that meeting, Chair, so I'll consider the next one. Thank you.
Okay.
Matafa, I second, Chair.
Honorable Matafa seconds. Agree, and the minutes are somewhat agreed to. Thank you very much, colleagues. We go to the report which emanates from that meeting of the 12th. Can we go to that, Peter Paul? Yes, Peter.
Chair, is it coming through?
That's it. The report of the Standing Committee on the Auditor-General starts with the introduction. As it is the report, do we have anything on the introduction, colleagues? The second point deals with the corporate governance structure of AGSA. Is there anything there? The third thing deals with financial performance information.
Chair, if I may just point out with your permission,
That's right.
with that correction on the first line, when I spoke to the content advisor, I picked up that it was supposed to be 3.4 billion, not a 0.4 billion. So that has been fixed.
No, thank you very much, Sir Peter Paul. Indeed, there was some form of slip there in terms of the typing error, and that has been fixed there. It makes more sense than it was previously. Is there any other thing you want to say from there? Move to 4.
No.
3.1, outstanding debts.
Chairperson.
Honorable Matafa. Honorable Matafa.
Can you hear me, Chair?
I hear you now.
On 3.1, Chair, sorry to take you back, still on page 3, if Peter Paul can go down a little bit. I think on the dates there is somewhere where there's an error in terms of the way the dates are written. Slightly down again, going into page 3. No, not up, go down. Yeah, just there. You can stop there. Here on the last sentence at the bottom, it says, in spite of the above, the end of 2220, I think there's an extra 2 there. 2020.
Noted, sir.
Yeah, okay. Is it not 2021-22 financial year or 2020-21?
It should be 2021-22.
Sure.
Or 2020-2021.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Peter Paul.
2021, yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you. 2.1. Matters on outstanding debt. Is there any issue there? Go up, Mr. Peter Paul. On non-financial information, that is point 4. Or 5. On point 5. .1. Move down. 5.2. Move down. Point 6 deals with the committee observations and findings. First observation. Deals with matters of transformation with reference to the auditors.
Chairperson.
Honorable Matafa.
On the first point, I'm not sure if whether it will be reflected in the maybe under the recommendations where we'll speak on issues of transformation. Whilst it is recommended and commended the efforts that the AG is taking to transform its institution, where external parties are concerned, there is a point where it speaks about transformation of those that are appointed. And there, when we recommend, it will be prudent that we put some timelines. So I'll be interested that the committee notes this point. When we get to recommendations, we must just look at how we frame our recommendation to ensure that there is some time frames that are put as far as the BEE scoring is concerned for external stakeholders. So we look at that at the recommendations. I just wanted to raise it now so that when we are dealing with recommendations, we're able to reflect on that as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Matafa. Point 2. Point 3. Outstanding debt. Point 4. ICT strategy. Point 5. SOE's audits. Point 6. Appointment of private auditors by SOEs. Point 7. And then we go to recommendations. The first recommendation is in relation to what Honorable Matafa was speaking on.
Yes, Chairperson.
Yeah. Do you want to repeat the point? I think you were saying there in terms of reporting on the matters of non-compliance. I'm sure there maybe we could say the Auditor-General should provide the committee with a report on the compliance of the external auditors in light of their transformation. I think we could then direct the AG to provide us with a report in a 6-month period.
I agree, Chairperson. If I may, I agree fully with your inputs, Chairperson, especially considering the fact that this requirement has been put forth in the table of the external auditors. There was partial compliance in the past where some transformation was achieved, reporting happened and was abruptly stopped. So the deadline will assist to ensure continuous compliance and a move towards transforming the institution. As earlier indicated, the AG is doing a wonderful work. So it is also good that all stakeholders, particularly those that are appointed by the AGSA with the concurrence of this committee, show also the same consciousness and efforts that are aimed at transforming their institutions, especially where the appointment is subject to compliance to this particular requirement. So I support your proposal, Chair, that on a 6-monthly basis, the reports in terms of how the efforts to transform these particular institutions are moving should be received by the committee. And this should be something that will remain on our table to ensure that we review it and then we are able to make input or intervention when necessary. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable.
Can I also just put in a matter of emphasis on what Honorable Matafa has said? Well, can you hear me, Chair?
Yes, I hear you now.
Here. I just wanted to emphasize on what Honorable Matafa have said. I mean, the AG has already set a tone for transformation in their own institution. So people who come from outside, the external auditors, they need to take cue from that. And that should only not be male to male. It should be women who must also be brought into, especially Black women. People with disability must also be part of that transformation agenda. So I just wanted to add on what Honorable Matafa has said, that we cannot have a situation where they now diminish or try to, I mean, with that type of behavior, if they're not compliant, it will also not be presented, it would not represent the office of the AG in a proper manner. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable members. Are there any further inputs on that matter?
Chair.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mtaji.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good morning, honorable members. I think I just want to unpack a small thing here with regard to this issue. I would like, I'm agree with the principle on principle. In fact, this is what is expressed correctly. But Chair, firstly, I'm concerned with that 6 monthly. You know why I'm concerned? That's 6 month on a 6 month basis. The reason that I'm concerned is that the condition that were given to these external auditors when they were appointed by this committee was that they must give progress report on transformation quarterly. That was the condition. That was the understanding. So now, if we put, it's like we're changing the condition that was agreed. In fact, that was issued by the very same committee, the SCOWEC, that they must report to the SCOWEC quarterly. And also, it's not the issue of the Auditor-General, like you say that Auditor must. No, the Auditor-General doesn't appoint external auditors because the external auditors are auditing Auditor-General. The issue of appointment of external auditors, the audit committee, rather than to say the Auditor-General, I think I propose that let us say the audit committee, because this is the audit committee who recommends the appointment of these external auditors to this committee, and the committee agreed in 2017 that, okay, we agreed, but we are not happy about the transformation of these external auditors, and yet, and therefore, they must, the requirement and condition was like that, they must quarterly submit the plans in progress, of which this year that were period that we're currently reviewing, we haven't received anything as a committee.
Chairperson.
So done, but okay, Honorable Matafa.
I'm sorry, Chair. If you maybe wanted to go, you can go, or if you allow me, I wanted to respond to the inputs that were made now.
Okay, free to do so.
Can I proceed? Thank you very much, Chair. No, given this input, I'm persuaded, Chair, that we revert back to the original prerequisite of quarterly. But to emphasize the fact that maybe since this was an issue that was picked up right from the beginning, and it was put on as one of the appointment requisitions, I think maybe we also need to urge the audit committee to look at measures that can be taken in the instance that there is failure to comply. Because there might be reporting, but if this reporting does not indicate any effort to achieve this particular requirement, then it will be futile, and for me, it might be appearing as malicious compliance. So I'm persuaded, Chair, that we move to the quarterly one, the reporting, and maybe the audit committee also look at measures that can be taken to ensure that there is compliance, or where there is non-compliance, what then? Because it is pointless just to say, comply to this and report accordingly. Reporting happens, but there is no compliance. So I think I just wanted to agree with the institutional memory that was actually put back onto the table. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
No, thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Honorable Matafa and Mr. Mkaji, on the matter. In the meeting, the chairperson of the audit committee, now I remember that he made reference to an assessment which is being made. I think it's going to be finalized in July, and was since postponed to a further period. So indeed, let's then accept this kind of correction, but emphasize that you are not taking kindly into them reneging on that kind of a report. Thank you very much, colleagues. Point 2. Recommendation. On the ICT strategy, and there's a date there by the 31st of January. Are we happy?
Yes, Chair, we are happy.
Point 3, AGSA and the complex environment SOEs.
Chairperson.
Honorable Singh.
Yeah, I just thought that number 3, the committee welcomed the efforts made by AGSA to expand its audit portfolio, especially with large and complex. I would have thought with regard, expand its audit portfolio to include auditing of large and complex SOEs.
Okay. Okay.
Include the auditing.
Okay. That's it. That's right. Is that okay?
Chair.
Point
Yes.
4. Who's Mr. Mkaji?
Yes. I think here, I just want, with your permission, to unpack another crucial point with regard to this. Here, Chair, after the amendment of the PAE, obvious the regulations, the regulation to implement the amendment were also changed or amended. In one of the amendment of the regulation, it was agreed that the Auditor-General had to concur, a concurrence with those private companies, those SOEs that are not audited, that are not currently under the Auditor-General's audit portfolio in terms of appointment of private auditors. Indeed, the Auditor-General implemented that, and according to their report is that when they implemented that, they found a risk or threatened challenge where they found a familiarity of the existence of a familiarity between the audit, some certain SOEs and private auditors, that they have got some relation which is more than 20 years. So in trying to curtail that, the Auditor-General issued some instruction that from 2021-22, all those SOEs must change, should change the private auditors. So they reported, the AGSA reported that they've experienced pushbacks from other SOEs with regard to such implementation or such instruction that they issued, that there should be a change of private auditors, especially those that have been auditing those SOEs for a period between 5 to 20 years. So that's what I wanted to highlight, that they experienced some pushbacks from other SOEs to implement such.
Yes, that's what was in tabling the report. That's what we had from the AG. That's why we are taking this recommendation. As I'm listening to it, it might as well be that it could be good for us as the committee to receive the names of those SOEs which are creating problems for the fulfillment of this legislative imperative. So that through receipt of such information, as the committee, we might want to communicate directly with those SOEs which are somewhat refusing to follow the law in that regard. So that might probably be one of the actions that we can take. We receive the names of those who are affected, and we, as a committee, correspond to them accordingly to find out why are they not fulfilling that reason.
Chair. Yes, I also agree with the chairperson, and I think that we need to do monitoring on those SOEs. We don't just call them in, but we have a program of monitoring to make sure that they comply with the law. Thanks, chairperson.
Thanks, Honourable Member. Agree, Honourable Members. If we do so, we go to the next point. Point 4, the extension of the current strategies to SOE debtors in regard to ring fencing agreements between the AG and the SOEs. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed, Chairperson.
Agreed.
Point 5, the challenge on outstanding debts to AGSA. Funding model to invoke section 361B of the PAA. Agreed, colleagues?
Yes,
Agreed,
Chairperson.
Point 6, for AGSA Development and Audit Action Plan in dealing with the findings that have been made in their report, so that the committee could be able to monitor such implementation. Is that fine, colleagues?
That's fine, Chairperson.
Point 7, Standing Committee of Auditor-General is satisfied with the performance of the Auditor-General of South Africa for 2020-21 financial year, and therefore recommends that the National Assembly approves the Integrated Annual Report. Agreed?
Agreed, Chairperson.
Agreed.
Good. Thank you very much, colleagues. Your hand is up, Honourable Singh. Therefore, the report has been considered. Colleagues, we go to the next, the following meeting of the 19th. Peter Paul?
Chair, with your permission, Chair, just for procedure, may I please just get that proposal for adoption and a second for the report, and then when we move.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Chairperson, no. I move for the adoption of the report, of the minutes.
The report.
The report.
That's right.
I second, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Honorable Sipasonga and Honorable Singh have moved in a seconded adoption of the report, and the committee agrees. The next minutes of the 19th of November. Come on, Peter Paul.
Chair, I'm here. I'm hoping they're showing, if not yet.
It's Friday today, Peter.
Let's just see.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. By the way, Honorable Matafa is acting whip of our committee. So we'll be acting from now on. We stand to welcome him and hope him all the best. I thought that let me just touch that matter as we are going to these minutes.
Thank you, Chair.
Minutes of Standing Committee on Auditor-General, 19th November 2021, concerning the briefing on the draft strategic plan and budget and audit directives. First part is on attendance. Second part, opening and welcome. These minutes have been with us. We could highlight the area which I think we need to amend on this point. The next part, deliberations. List 4 of those start with the persistent challenges and ends up with a request for an update on the effectiveness of additional powers given to the Office of the Public by the Public Audit Act. Next, 5. Next, and closure. Is there any other area that we want to seek to amend? Is there anyone who wants to propose the adoption of the minutes?
Chairperson, I have been proposing adoption. I was present.
Okay, Honorable Singh, Honorable Matafa seconds. Agree, colleagues? Thank you very much. Thank you. The next item deals with the draft report.
I'm checking if it's showing.
Not yet. It's only showing your face.
Let's see. Not yet.
That's it. I hope all of us have exposed the report. Annexure of recommendations on the AGSA draft strategy plan and budget.
Chairperson, a typo on the heading, spelling of draft, typographical error.
Okay, thank you. Where have we lost the directive, Peter Paul?
Yes, sir.
Where have we lost the directives?
The directives. Oh.
Mm-hmm. That's right. The first part deals with the committee noted with concern, once more, the increase in the outstanding debt, areas of debt, and there is a resolution on that, which highlights the implementation of Section 36(1)(b) of the PAA. That's fine. And then 2 of that annexure, matter of non-financial information. And the recommendation of such. This is a topical matter which I think it should be emphasized the thorough movement towards the audit of performance of various audits.
I think Chair, maybe to amplify, there was a need for a gradual shift from regularity audits towards value for money audits. From regularity audits towards value for money audits. And then we wanted a plan to be put on the table, which is, it was expected that the AG provides a brief plan. A plan, why should it be brief?
Why do you want, you should not lose the fact that the movement, Honorable Singh, if you would want to clarify the point, it doesn't necessarily mean that you move away from, because that should be done together.
Yes.
Yeah, I think in terms of our English there, it should not necessarily be viewed as if we would want to emphasize performance away from the financial accounts. If we could coin it better, it might be maybe should be together with.
I agree.
Yeah.
Chair, I wonder if this helps. Perhaps it just changes the reading to say shift from regularity audits towards the inclusion of value for money audits. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. It's yeah. That's it. Shift. Okay, I'm just trying to think whether it sounds sound. I thought that you're going to lose the first part and enhance it with your second part, your second intervention. Yeah. That is the inclusive part.
Yes, not sure. We'll certainly make sure that it reads, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think the very point raised by Honorable Singh. But you know, for 3, it deals with the adherence to Section 231 of the Public Audit Act, which would ensure that the rates determined by salary increases.
Increment.
Salary increments,
Audit fee increment.
The AG determines the basis for the calculation of audit fees to, Why you talk about salary? Peter Paul, you want a salary increase? This is
I love one, Chair, but
an average staff cost
budget fee
of 889 per band interval, markup factor, and recoverable hours. The increase in the average charge rate. Let's try to get into the sense of this thing. Okay. No, does it make sense, colleagues?
Yes, it does.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. And then we move to 4. that's a better English. There is a need to move beyond regularity audits towards value for money audits. Agreed?
Yes.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Point 5. The committee supports the draft strategic plan, budget, and the audit directives of the AGSA, and this will be communicated through its full report to the National Assembly in due course. Agreed?
Agreed.
Yes, Chair.
In the same vein, I think we would propose the adoption of this part of our report.
I move for the
I move.
adoption.
Who's that?
Okay, let it be her.
Honorable Kopane.
Yes, Chair. I move for the adoption of the report.
That's right. Who's a seconder? Mamos Pasongwe. Seconded. Agreed, colleagues?
Agreed.
That's
Agreed.
it. If we then agree, is there any other matter that is left from us, Mr. Peter Paul?
No, Chair. At this stage, not. Perhaps except just to say, Chair, I think members will be away from the program. This is probably the last meeting where the committee will be meeting on its own. And then our very last will be that joint engagement with SCOPA on the 8th of December. We'll communicate all the details next week. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peter Paul. That meeting is an important meeting because we'll be dealing with the report on the PFMA on the 8th of December. The number of departments have received their reports. They've started to have discussions and such, but the totality of the report has not been finalized. There's still some institutions which are somewhat being audited, UIF and others are not yet finalized. So thank you very much, colleagues. To see you then. Have a nice weekend and a nice week coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Wish you the same.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.